Emily Post once warned that the faults of what we say are far more serious than what we leave unsaid, and regrets are seldom for what you left unspoken. The woman sitting across from you at that charity luncheon last week looked impeccable. Chanel bag, perfectly pressed linen dress, hair that somehow stayed smooth despite the humidity. But the moment she opened her mouth and said certain phrases, everyone at the table exchanged that look. You know the one. The subtle glance that says everything without saying anything at all. Your words are not just communication. They are your calling card. They reveal whether you belong in the room or whether you are merely visiting it. A woman of class knows that vulgar language undermines poise, and that eloquence and refinement speak volumes without needing to shock or offend. And here is the uncomfortable truth. Some phrases, even when delivered with a smile, brand you as someone still learning the codes, still figuring it out, still not quite there. If you want to master elegance and learn the unspoken rules that women of true class follow, click subscribe, hit that notification bell, and leave a like on this video. Because what you are about to discover could change how people perceive you forever. Let me tell you what happened at a dinner party 2 months ago. A woman I will call Caroline, beautifully dressed, stunning jewelry, clearly had money, was seated next to a woman who owns half of the real estate in the nicest part of town. Caroline spent the entire evening talking about how expensive everything was, how much her dress cost, how much the wine at her last vacation cost, how much everything in her life cost. The real estate woman? She smiled politely, nodded, and never called Caroline again. Because the wealthy do not like to talk about their wealth, bank balance, or lifestyle with anyone, especially someone they do not know. It is bad etiquette. Before we dive deeper, I want you to know about something that is transforming how women are perceived in social circles right now. The course, Look Rich Without Spending Much, is available at a special launch price because the lessons are being released gradually. Once the course is complete, the price will increase to full value with no discounts. This course teaches you the visual codes, behavioral patterns, and social signals that wealthy women use naturally, things that can completely transform how you are treated and perceived. This is not about pretending to be someone you are not. This is about understanding the language of sophistication so you can move through any room with confidence. The link is in the description. Trust me, you do not want to miss this opportunity while it is still at the introductory price. Now, let us talk about the 8 phrases that are silently sabotaging your image. Number 1. I cannot afford it. It is considered bad manners to talk about financial situations with people you barely know, as it could come across as if you are asking for a handout, fishing for a new partner, or wanting a loan. A woman of class never announces her financial limitations. Not because she is dishonest, but because she understands that discretion is a form of power. Instead, she says, "That is not a priority for me right now," or "My budget is allocated elsewhere." Do you see the difference? One phrase screams scarcity. The other whispers choice. One makes you sound powerless. The other makes you sound strategic. I once watched a woman turn down an expensive spa weekend with her friends by saying she could not afford it. The energy shifted immediately. Suddenly, she became the charity case, the one they needed to accommodate, the one who could not keep up. But another woman in that same group, faced with the same situation, simply said, "That sounds lovely, but I have other plans for my resources this quarter." No one pitied her. No one felt sorry for her. They respected her. Number 2. That is so cheap. Nothing, and I mean nothing, reveals a lack of breeding faster than talking about how cheap something is. Women who truly understand luxury do not celebrate bargains loudly. They appreciate quality quietly. The truly wealthy go for quality construction and materials over splashing big fancy logos. When you announce how cheap something was, you are telling everyone that price is your primary measure of value. And that, my dear, is precisely what separates old money from new money. A woman I know bought a stunning vintage Hermes scarf at an estate sale for next to nothing. At a party, someone complimented it. She smiled and said, "Thank you. I found it at a wonderful little place." She did not mention the price. She did not brag about the deal, because the story was not about how little she paid. The story was about having the eye to recognize quality when she saw it. Number 3. I am sorry, but... Avoid using qualifying phrases, taglines, and weak language like, "I am not an expert but," or "I just want to say," or "I feel." Instead, say, "I am confident," "I expect," or "I am certain." Women who apologize before they speak are asking for permission to take up space. Women of class do not ask permission. They simply exist with calm authority. There is a massive difference between being polite and being apologetic about your own existence. Saying "I am sorry but I disagree" is weak. Saying "I see it differently" is strong. One phrase diminishes you. The other establishes you as someone with her own perspective, someone worth listening to. I have been in board meetings where a woman started every single comment with "sorry, but..." By the third time, people stopped listening. Not because her ideas were bad, but because she had trained everyone to dismiss her before she even finished her sentence. A classy woman expresses herself with clarity and calm, saving difficult conversations for private, appropriate moments. Number 4. That is not fair. Life is not fair. The sooner you stop saying this phrase, the sooner you sound like someone who understands how the world actually works. Complaining about fairness is what children do. Adults, especially women of class, focus on strategy, not justice. A woman of class does not whine about fairness. She assesses the situation, determines her next move, and acts accordingly. When something does not go her way, she does not announce her disappointment to everyone in earshot. She processes privately, adjusts her approach, and moves forward with grace. I once heard a woman at a networking event loudly complain that it was not fair that someone else got the promotion she wanted. Every single person within hearing distance mentally filed her away as someone who blames external circumstances instead of examining her own strategy. Meanwhile, another woman who had been passed over for something similar simply said, "Interesting. I will need to think about my approach." Guess which one people wanted to mentor? Number 5. No offense, but. If you have to preface your statement with "no offense," you already know that what you are about to say is offensive. Passive-aggressive language, saying one thing when you mean another, is rude, hurtful, and corrosive to relationships. This phrase is the verbal equivalent of setting a bomb and then acting surprised when it explodes. A woman of class does not need this disclaimer because she has learned the art of delivering difficult truths with elegance. She does not hide behind false politeness. She speaks with intention and takes responsibility for her words. Let me tell you about 2 women I know. Both needed to give critical feedback to a mutual friend about her behavior at events. The first one said, "No offense, but you talk about yourself way too much." The friendship ended. The second one said, "I have noticed that when we are in groups, I do not get to hear much about what is going on in your life because the conversation moves so quickly. I would love to catch up with you one-on-one." Same message. Completely different delivery. One burned a bridge. The other strengthened a friendship. Number 6. Whatever. This word is dismissive, lazy, and signals that you have given up on the conversation. It is the verbal equivalent of rolling your eyes. A classy woman does not seek validation through attention-seeking behavior, and she lets her presence, not volume, do the talking. When you say "whatever," you are telling the other person that they are not worth your mental energy, that you cannot be bothered to engage thoughtfully. And while that might feel powerful in the moment, it actually makes you look petty and small. A woman of class, even when she disagrees or does not care about the outcome, maintains her composure. She might say, "I will defer to your judgment on this," or "You clearly feel strongly about this, so let us move forward with your preference." Same result. Completely different impression. Number 7. I told you so. The chatterer reveals every corner of his shallow mind. One who keeps silent cannot have his depth plumbed. Being right is satisfying. Announcing that you were right is insufferable. Women of class do not need to remind others of their correctness because their track record speaks for itself. When you say "I told you so," you are prioritizing your ego over the relationship. You are choosing to be right over being kind. And that choice reveals far more about you than it does about the person who was wrong. I watched this play out recently. A woman had warned her sister not to invest in a particular business venture. The sister did it anyway and lost money. The first woman said, "I told you so. I knew this would happen." The relationship became strained. But imagine if she had said instead, "I am so sorry this happened. How can I support you now?" One response pushes people away. The other draws them closer. Which woman do you want to be? Number 8. To be honest or honestly. When you preface a statement with "to be honest" or "honestly," you are implying that everything else you have said might not have been honest. Women with excellent speech etiquette speak with clarity and intention and avoid weak language that undermines their credibility. It is a verbal tick that undermines your credibility without you even realizing it. A woman of class does not need to announce her honesty because it is assumed in everything she says. Her word is her bond. She does not need disclaimers or qualifiers. She simply speaks truthfully and lets her consistency build her reputation over time. Think about the people you trust most. Do they constantly tell you they are being honest? No, because their honesty is demonstrated through their actions over time, not announced in every conversation. Trust is built through pattern, not proclamation. Here is what I need you to understand. Eliminating these phrases is not about being fake or pretending to be someone you are not. It is about understanding that elegance is a language, and you are choosing to become fluent in it. Real or authentic, elegance is a way of being. If you want to become elegant, you must learn to showcase your class and femininity in all spheres of life. Show your elegance with the way you talk, the way you walk, and the way you treat others. Every woman I know who moves through high society with ease, who gets invited to the right tables, who is treated with immediate respect, has mastered the art of strategic speech. They know when to speak and when to stay silent. They know which phrases elevate them and which phrases diminish them. They understand that words are not just sounds we make. They are investments in our reputation. You are now ahead of 90% of women out there because you understand something most people never figure out. Class is not about what you own. It is about how you move through the world, and your words are the primary way people assess whether you belong in their world or not. If you are serious about traveling with sophistication and want to be seen as an elegant, well-mannered woman wherever you go, check out the ebook Be Elegant When Traveling: Global Etiquette for the Sophisticated Traveler. I am an affiliate, and the link is in the first pinned comment. This guide will teach you the cultural codes and refined behaviors that set sophisticated travelers apart. Let me do a quick review of what you learned today. You learned that saying "I cannot afford it" makes you sound powerless, while "that is not a priority for me" sounds strategic. You learned that announcing how cheap something is reveals that price, not quality, is your measure of value. You learned that apologizing before you speak diminishes your authority. You learned that complaining about fairness makes you sound immature. You learned that "no offense, but" is just passive aggression with a disclaimer. You learned that "whatever" is dismissive and lazy. You learned that "I told you so" prioritizes ego over relationship. And you learned that "to be honest" implies everything else you said might have been dishonest. You are now equipped to move through any room, any conversation, any social situation with more grace and confidence than before. You understand the subtle signals that separate women who belong from women who are still figuring it out. If you found value in this video, click subscribe and hit that like button so I know you want more content about etiquette and elegance delivered in this honest, no-nonsense way. And if you want to support this channel and get exclusive content, consider becoming a member of our community for as little as $4.99 per month. Just click the Be a Member button. Your support allows me to keep creating content that helps women like you elevate in every area of life. Words reveal class. Comment that phrase below if you enjoyed this video and learned something new today. And tell me, which of these 8 phrases have you been using without realizing it? I read every comment, and I want to know what resonated with you most. Until next time, remember, your words are your reputation. Choose them carefully.